Have you ever wondered what tech skills you need to learn in order to prepare for the future? Not sure if you noticed, but technology is always evolving and it's always changing. What a role is today could totally change for that same position or that same role for tomorrow. And guess what? I don't think it's slowing down. So it's also estimated that from 2021 to 2031, that cybersecurity analysts, their positions is going to grow by 35%, software developers by 25%. Pretty much that's outpacing the standard 5% growth per year. In my opinion, those aren't the only roles that's going to grow. So today, we're looking at the future of IT and how to prepare for what's coming. So don't forget to click like, subscribe, and that notification bell. Welcome to Debt Free in IT. I'm your host, Mike. This podcast is for anyone who's looking to get into the IT industry, whether it's a career change or you're just interested. I think you come to the right place. So the following skills I'm about to mention, they're not listed in any particular order. Pretty much, I don't think no skill is more valuable than the next skill. All of this is going to depend on you and what you're interested in and what you think you can see yourself doing in the future. First skill that I have, we have to get started with the elephant in the room, and that's AI, artificial intelligence. So pretty much AI is becoming a part of our everyday lives more and more. You have plenty of use cases for AI now. Everyone and their mama has probably heard of Chat GPT by now, or probably logged in and used Chat GPT in some form or fashion. I think Chat GPT was the one that opened up the floodgates to the whole more advanced products with AI. Some ways to get involved with AI, I think that you could go down the route of learning how to create your own AI software, your different AI products. This probably has to deal a lot with some machine learning, some coding, different little skills go involved with doing the AI, trying to create the AI. But on the other side of things, if you're not the one that want to go down and particularly learn how to create your own AI tool, machine learning, get all into that, well, another way that you can use AI to your benefit is you can use AI to increase your output and your productivity. So you can use something like a Chat GPT. There's plenty other ones out there. I'm just naming the most popular one. You can use plenty of those to help you with your everyday job. So now you can have AI to help you learn how to code. You can open up Chat GPT, ask Chat GPT to write you a sample piece of code for a piece of software or for a website. Chat GPT is going to write out that code for you. Then you can take and try to use that code and change the code to your liking. So you have plenty of use cases for it. A lot of use cases I hear most people using it for is writing emails. So if you're someone that's not real good at writing professional emails, then this could be something that you could prompt AI Chat GPT to write for you. You can input some of your own data and have it create the rest of it. Or you can have it create you a template. That way, every time you need to send out a certain type of email, let's say you get asked for a lot of recommendations to send out recommendation letters. So you can have Chat GPT come up with your template for that recommendation letter, and then you just use that template to go by, or either you can have Chat GPT to write the recommendation letter. So you have plenty of use cases for this AI tool. So the best thing is it's not going nowhere, or I don't think it's going nowhere. So it's either you learn how to create it or you learn how to use it to help you be more productive. Where back in the days where a lot of things like writing and different other little things that we used to have to hire a human body to do, now you can use Chat GPT to do that. Where a lot of people, you may have heard of people doing a one-person business. So a lot of times they're using different AI products, and those AI products is taking the place of where they would have to actually hire someone to do that particular job. So one skill set that I think you need to help prepare you for the future, AI. So the next skill set or technology that you need to learn to help prepare for the future is none other than cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is pretty much, in my eyes, long as there's criminals and cybercrime, there's always going to be a need for cybersecurity. So long as there's people trying to break into things, it's always going to be somebody to try to keep those person out of breaking into things. So You're always networks and organizations are always going to need someone to help protect their network. Cybersecurity, I don't think is going nowhere. It's getting stronger and stronger every year. That field grows just because of you have way more cyber crimes going on, where it's probably more cyber crimes than it's regular crime now, where everyone has gone to cyber crimes. You see it everywhere. You see it in Cash App, different little scams and things like that. So a lot of people have went to those type of crimes. So big businesses, they're always going to need someone to help protect their assets and help protect their products. So cybersecurity, I don't think is going nowhere at all. So there's plenty of ways that one could pivot into cybersecurity. With each option having their own list of skill sets that you would need. So in cybersecurity, you have one could go to auditing, one could go to network security, internet security, pen testing, ethical hacking. I suggest for the most people, you're probably going to start out getting that basic cybersecurity cert or security cert, which mainly right now is probably the Security Plus. That's the one that's most known. That's the one that's most recognized, and that's the one that's most asked for. Pretty much all government jobs, if you're doing some kind of security in the information technology field for a government company or a government entity, a lot of times they're going to require you to have that Security Plus. So that's one way that I think someone could pivot into the cybersecurity realm. And then once you get that Security Plus and you figure out what you want to focus on, whether that be auditing or pen testing or ethical hacking or network security, I think after you get that Security Plus, you can get into that field, work for a while, figure out which way you want to pivot, what you want to specialize in, and then start going for achieving those goals. But cybersecurity, I don't think it's going nowhere soon. Long as there's crimes out here, it's going to be someone that need to stop those crimes. So the next technology that I think you need to learn for the future is cloud computing. So cloud computing, is getting more and more popular, just like cybersecurity, where you have plenty of companies and organizations now. They're either putting everything in the cloud, or they're taking a hybrid model, meaning that they got some servers in the cloud, some assets in the cloud, and then they still have some physical being in their data center. So they have use cases for both. So, but either way, at any enterprise, you're dealing with some sort of cloud. To pivot into the cloud, I think that right now the biggest cloud players out there per se is AWS and Microsoft with Azure. So each one of these have their own certifications that you could go after. But one thing that a lot of people probably forget is CompTIA also has a Cloud Plus that's pretty much vendor neutral. So I would think that maybe go after the Cloud Plus. That gives you that vendor neutral cert. So that means that you can apply to jobs that's looking for AWS or jobs that's looking for someone with Microsoft experience, where you can show them that Cloud Plus is vendor neutral. It gives you that basic understanding of any cloud foundation. And then once you find something you want to specialize in or something you want to focus on, then you can go down that route, whether it's AWS, whether it's Azure, or whether it's Google. I think they have their own cloud product also. But I think that Cloud Plus may be something good to look into, just because it gives you that vendor neutral certification for the cloud. If you're finding value in this episode and you're listening via YouTube or your favorite podcasting app, please leave me a review or a comment. If you have a friend who needs to hear this, please share this episode with them. So the fourth skill or the technology that I think you need to learn in order to be prepared for the future and what's coming down the pipeline is none other than programming and coding. So programming and coding is one of those tedious things to learn, but I always look at it as it's the closest thing to having superpowers to me, because anytime you can take something out of your head and create it, in which you can do with code, that's a powerful skill to have. And then also code is built all around us. So every technology product we use has some sort of code in it. If you're on Facebook or Meta, that's pretty much code. Instagram is code. Twitter is code. Netflix is code. If you drive a Tesla car, that's a lot of code. So coding is all around us. So why not learn a skill set that's that valuable and that many people use? And then also, if you learn coding, you can create your own product. So one thing about coding, you create that product once, you put that hard work into it once, and you can sell it multiple times. So coding, I don't see any downsides to this besides taking that time to actually put in the effort to learn how to code. Because, like I said, it's not easy. If you look at coding jobs, you see that most of them have a pretty high salary, even if it's a beginner or an entry level role. Because coding is not nothing that you can go in and learn by night. It's none of those fly by night skills that you can learn, but it is a real valuable skill. One way that most people in general pivot into a coding aspect or a development, software development aspect, which is what is also be called, is a lot of people recommend that you start learning with Python. So Python is supposedly the easiest coding language that you can learn. And I don't know who said it was easy because I ain't gonna lie, I'm still lost with Python. But Python is said to be one of the easiest languages to learn how to code from. And then from learning Python, you can move on to Java, C++, any other coding language. A lot of times, once you get one of them, you notice that some of the syntax and some of the uh, coding aspects may be similar to where you understand the different functions and everything, where the functions may work the same no matter the code. So that's something that a lot of people recommend that you can start out with. And also with Python, Python offers a lot of free courses. So Python has a website where you can go in there and they got a free course that you can take. And Python even has some certifications tied to it. Um, I don't know how valuable those certifications are because most of the time in the coding aspect, most of the time I never see any job pretty much require certification there of any such form. Pretty much most of them, if you go on an interview, they're gonna have you to code something in front of them, or they're gonna have you to dissect some code that they already have written. So coding and programming, I think that's a valuable skill to have, and it'll help you be prepared for the future. And it may be something that you can look into. So the fifth skill that I think is real valuable is SQL. So pretty much SQL is all about data, manipulating data, managing databases. The more data you have, the better. So if you know how to use SQL, a lot of companies also use this. So if you ever ordered something on the internet, a lot of times your information is probably kept in an SQL database. Most hospitals you go to, a lot of times that patient information is kept in some sort on some server in some SQL database. SQL, you can query data. You can, like I said, manipulate data. A lot of companies, like I said, more data, the better. The more data you have with anything, the better you can provide a let's say if you have a customer base. Long if you know about your customer, you got all that data, you can pretty much help your customer out by providing solutions to their problems. So SQL, that's a valuable skill set. You can go online, look at the different jobs for it, but data ain't going nowhere. Every company loves data. Data is probably the most valuable asset to any company. As long as you got that data, you can pretty much do anything almost. So SQL is something valuable to learn, something that you can check into. So the next skill set that I think you should learn to be prepared for the future, I think this one often gets overlooked. I'm thinking maybe because it's technical, but then it's somewhat not technical, and that's project management. So in every industry, you got to have a project manager. If it's construction, you got a project manager. None, same thing in IT. So a lot of times these companies, you have big projects that need to get completed, need to get started, need to have finished by a certain deadline. And a lot of times you're going to have a project manager. They're going to be the ones responsible for making sure that project gets completed. So they're not the one doing the project. It's the more technical people that's doing the project, but that project manager, they're going to be the ones to get all those people in the same room, whether that's on a Zoom meeting or if that's in a physical meeting. They're going to be the ones that knows who to contact to get involved in this project in order to get this project from start to finish. So they're going to be the one that helps out each step. So they're going to be the one that comes out with an outline that, okay, for this first step, we need to get this completed. Okay, we need this completed by this date. On this date, we're going to have another meeting. We're going to get the second stage completed. So that project manager, they're going to push it along the way. And then also with a project manager in IT, it's always a plus if that project manager knows the language. So if that project manager can speak technical too, usually they do real good in that field. So if they can speak that language, I know in coding you have something that's called like a scrum manager and things of that nature. So a lot of this is that project manager that can speak that language. So that's always a plus. One of the most popular certs out there for project management is the PMP certification. So if you would like me to do a video just talking about some more project management certs, just let me know in the comments and I'll try my best to provide that resource for you. But project management, I think, is something that you may need to look into for the future. So you may have noticed that in my list, I think I might have mentioned like 6 technologies or 6 skills that I think will be valuable or helpful to learn and be help you prepare for the future. You may have thought that, oh, I didn't mention not a one thing about networking. So I'm a networking guy and I ain't mentioned nothing about networking. So pretty much the only reason I didn't mention networking is what I consider the foundation for every other skill. So if you're going the cybersecurity route, if you're going the cloud route, each one of those still deal with networking. There's networking in the cloud. With cybersecurity, that goes hand in hand with networking. So networking is still involved in a lot of these technologies. It's just that some of them you may not need to go in as deep in networking as getting a CCNA or a CCNP, but you will still need that basic understanding of networking. So if you're going cybersecurity, a network plus may be good, or either just having that understanding of network and then get that security plus. You know, if you're going for the cloud, having that basic understanding of networking and VLANs and things of that nature, it's going to come in handy in the cloud. So that's one reason I didn't mention it, just because it's the foundation. But networking is changing too. So the role of networking that I always knew it as. That's changing every day. A lot of companies now going over to SD-WAN. A lot of companies now they're starting to incorporate Python inside of their networking with, you know, programmability, all of that on your network. So just like the skill set earlier, programming and coding, Python, like I said, Python is used in networking. So I still think networking is the foundation, but that role is starting to change a little bit. So networking is always going to be valuable, whether I mention it or not. So that brings me to the end of this episode. Hopefully you found some value in this episode. If you're on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, you can follow me at Debt Free and IT. If you have any questions or comments, you can send me an email at debtfreeandit@gmail.com. Other than that, I'll see you next week. Peace.